We aspire to learn your way of listening in order to help relieve the suffering in the world. You know how to listen in order to understand. We invoke your name in order to practice listening with all our attention and open-heartedness. We will sit and listen without any prejudice. We will sit and listen without judging or reacting. We will sit and listen in order to understand. We will sit and listen so attentively that we will be able to hear what the other person is saying and also what is being left unsaid. We know that just by listening deeply, we already alleviate a great deal of pain and suffering in the other person. We invoke your name, Manjushri. We aspire to learn your way, which is to be still and to look deeply into the heart of things and into the hearts of people. We will look with all our attention and open-heartedness. We will look with unprejudiced eyes. We will look without judging or reacting. We will look deeply so that we will be able to see and understand the roots of suffering and the impermanent and selfless nature of all that is. We will practice your way of using the sword of understanding to cut through the bonds of suffering, thus freeing ourselves and other species. We invoke your name, Samantabhadra. We aspire to practice your vow to act with eyes and heart of compassion, to bring joy to one person in the morning, and to ease the pain of one person in the afternoon. We know that the happiness of others is our own happiness, and we aspire to practice joy on the path of service. We know that every word, every look, every action, and every smile can bring happiness to others. We know that if we practice wholeheartedly, we ourselves may become an inexhaustible source of peace and joy for our loved ones and for all species. We invoke your name, Kishitarva. We aspire to learn your way of being present where there is darkness, suffering, oppression, and despair, so we can bring light, hope, relief, and liberation to those places. We are determined not to forget about or abandon those in desperate situations. We will do our best to establish contact with those who cannot find the way out of their suffering, those whose cries for help, justice, equality, and human rights are not being heard. We know that hell can be found in many places on earth. We will do our best not to contribute to creating more hells on earth. We will help transform the hells that already exist. We will practice in order to realize the qualities of perseverance and stability, so that, like the earth, we can always be supportive and faithful to those in need. We invoke your name, Sadapurutta. We aspire to learn your way of looking deeply with the eyes of non-discrimination in order to see the true qualities of others. Whenever you meet anyone, you bow respectfully and say in affirmation, I respect you deeply. You are a future Buddha. We vow to look deeply into ourselves, to recognize the positive qualities that there, to accept and to love ourselves. We vow only to water positive seeds in ourselves and in those around us. By doing so, our thoughts, words, and deeds will give rise to self confidence and acceptance of ourselves, our children, grandchildren, and all those we know. We vow to look deeply with the eyes of non discrimination, to see that joy and success of the other person is also our joy and success. We vow to behave and to speak with humility and respect. We vow to practice loving speech, to help people who underestimate themselves see that they are wonders of the universe. We know that only when we are able to transcend the barriers of separate self shall we be able to transform superiority, inferiority, and equality complexes and realize true happiness and freedom.
Looks like the microphone was off the whole time. Sorry for those online. We will observe about 20 minutes of noble silence. Thank you.
I'd like to invite our incense lighters up. And if the rest of us could turn to page 2, right in the middle of the page, we'll be doing our incense lighting gatha together. In gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Hello, everybody. Feels good to be up here again. It's been a while. I have a couple courtesy announcements for anybody that may be new here. If you need to use the restroom, we have a couple right through this curtain here. We also have a restroom downstairs. If you need to step away for any reason, you can also go downstairs, and there's some Legos down there. So as long as you are under 99 years old, I think you should be fine. There's also a water fountain down there as well. Also, during the service, we ask that you don't walk in front of the dais here, just out of respect for the space, as well as to keep the view clear for those watching online. Hi. With that, why don't we stand and greet each other? We say do it silently, but you don't have to be silent if you don't want. And if you could all turn to page 3, we'll be doing our 3 refuges chant together. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to practice mindful breathing and smiling, looking deeply into things. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to offer joy to one person in the morning and to help relieve the grief of one person in the afternoon. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And if you turn to the next page, we'll be doing the Heart Sutra. Dhamma prajna paramita hridaya sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of prajna paramita, received the emptiness of all 5 skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. Om O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight. No realm of consciousness. No ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there's nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna. Paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all delusive views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant fearless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, Aragate, Arasamgate, Bodhisvaha. Maha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. I'd like to introduce you all to Unyo. Unyo is a practitioner, teacher, and sewing instructor at Sikokoji down in Battle Creek. As somebody who is currently sewing a kesa right now, I realize the importance of that station. So I'm honored to have them visiting our temple and to sit next to them while they give their talk. So thank you.
And thank you. It's very good to be here in this amazing space. We're very lucky. So what I'd like to talk about today, or the talk title, is Meditation and the Three Poisons. A basic Buddhist teaching, both meditation and the three poisons. And even though we've spent a little bit of time sitting, I'd like to have us sit a little bit more. I've been a practitioner for a couple of decades or more, and have been ordained in the Soto Zen lineage of Japan. My teacher, Sokuzan from Sokokoji Buddhist Temple Monastery in Battle Creek, Michigan, is a hybrid of both the Tibetan tradition, after having studied with Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche when he first met him in 1973, and then thought when he was done with teachers, here comes Kobun Chino Roshi, a Zen master from Japan. And since then, our practice is a hybridization for sure. We do some practices at Sokokoji Monastery in Battle Creek that include both the Tibetan, like the sadhana of Mahamudra, which I'll read a little bit from in a minute, and also from the Soto Zen tradition. And so with the Soto Zen tradition, it was started in the 13th century by Dogen Zenji of Japan. And the technique or method of meditation, and I'd like to say, in my understanding, there's no correct way particularly to meditate. You may find that when you approach meditation on any given time or any given day or any given moment, that you may find yourself confused, upset, angry, joyous, depressed, worthless, full of joy, struggling, any of those types of positivities or negativities. All of those we bring to the cushion in meditation. And with shikantaza, which is a Japanese word that means just precisely this, or just sitting, we bring all of that to the cushion. And it's an opportunity, which we all have at that time when we come to the cushion, to just observe. So we hold our body as still as we can without being rigid. We have all of our senses open, and in particular the eyes, but not a law, not a rule. If you sit for any long period of time, which occasionally we do at the monastery, we sit for what we call 4-hour block sits. That doesn't mean you can't get up or you can't shift your body position or something, but it's not uncommon for this practitioner anyway to find myself nodding off. And so that too is all part of the sitting practice of meditation as I have been taught and have integrated it into my practice. So we bring all of this to the cushion in meditation, in shikantaza. So I'd like to take just a couple of minutes, because we're going to be sitting again in a little bit after my talk, and that'll give you another example of a practice of meditation. So Find yourself in a comfortable position, which most of you seem to be in already. We hold our body as still as we can without being rigid, in a nice symmetrical position. Back as straight as we can, allowing for any bodily considerations you may have. Make yourself so that we're not straining or in pain. Ideally, we're not in pain. And typically at the monastery, we're facing a wall. But here we're facing out, so you can have your gaze slightly downward on your nose. Again, I would encourage you to keep your eyes open. And you may find yourself gazing at the back of somebody right in front of you, which is perfectly fine. So here we go. Holding the body very still without being rigid, all the senses open, in particular the eyes. Just observe. Hands can be in a cosmic mudra. Mudra is simply a gesture. Your hands could also be on your thighs in a comfortable position. And whatever you find being received by all of your senses, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, whatever that is, just observe. Thoughts are often talked about as if they are fish in a pond that swim this way and that way. We don't have much say-so about fish in the pond. Same with our thoughts. We just observe. Whatever is moving, you may find your breath. Not that we are focusing on our breath, but you may become aware of your breath during your sitting. Just observe. Thank you. So in meditation, as I mentioned, we bring everything to the cushion, including the basic teaching of the three poisons: passion, aggression, and ignorance. And in some cases, there are two others that are added to that list: jealousy and pride. So pick your favorite one. But they're called the three poisons. I'm not sure exactly why, but in the tradition, at the center, you may see a tanka, or I don't see one here, but there's the wheel of life, the bhavacakra, which represents the cyclic existence that we all are living in. And at the very center of this cycle, and it has images all the way around it, are the three poisons, the very basis: passion. Passion, I want it, give it to me, it's mine. Aggression, I don't want it, go away, take it away from me. Or ignorance, don't, just look away, can't look at that, don't want to consider it. So with the practice of meditation, what we are looking to do is cultivate. a way for us to see more clearly how these three poisons can impact our life. And especially in this extreme, difficult world that we seem to be living in these days, the call or the opportunity to have a practice such as the sitting practice of meditation seems to be even more and more necessary. So with the three poisons, as I mentioned, the image that is on the bhavacakra in the middle is a rooster. I'm not sure why there are these particular animals that are shown, but a rooster, which represents passion, greed, desire, and then a pig, which is ignorance or delusion, and then the snake, which is hatred or aggression. And so we may find ourselves in our daily life engaged perhaps more than we want to in any one of those three poisons. I don't know about you, but I'm great at arguing. I find that I tend to speak and then think rather than consider what I'm going to say and then speak perhaps or not speak. And so with meditation, we can train ourselves, we can train our mind to observe and see how it is that we engage in these three poisons in our daily life. And I know some of you are studying The Way of the Bodhisattva with Pema Chodron's, I think it's called The Way of the Bodhisattva. And she has a commentary on it. This is by Shantideva, who was an 8th century Indian monk. And I want to read from one of the verses that is being considered, I think, for this month. I think that's what Venerable Kunga mentioned to me. But it's chapter 5 called Vigilant Introspection. And it's the second verse, and it says, wandering where it will, the elephant of mind. And I don't know how well your visualization is, but has anybody here ever been to Africa? Have you ever seen an elephant? Well, I haven't had that opportunity, but I've seen pictures of elephants. And so when I think of an elephant wandering where it will, it just consumes. It's like gigantic. So wandering where it will, the elephant of mind will bring us down to torment in the hell of unrelenting pain. Now, again, I don't know how it is for you, but when I find myself suffering from what I call the three poisons, it feels to me like I am in the hell of unrelenting pain. And it could be something just as simple as a misunderstanding with someone. It doesn't have to be necessarily a devastating type of unrelenting pain. It becomes very hellish for me. And Shantideva goes on to say, no worldly beast, however wild and crazed, could bring upon us such calamity. So it's the elephant of the mind. It's our thinking process. It's passion, aggression, and ignorance that can bring us that kind of torment. And so the practice of meditation then gives us an opportunity to bring that, as I mentioned a minute ago, to the cushion and just observe. Just observe. We don't have to do anything with it. We're not asking to fix it. It feels like we should fix ourselves or that passion or that aggression or that ignorance. But sitting practice of meditation brings us to the cushion and into the awareness. Some of us, I don't know about you, but for me, I often go through a day and I don't even know by the end of the day what I did at at the breakfast table or what I had for lunch. Life goes by so rapidly. And so just to consider that if we don't have an opportunity like we do on Sundays here to come and sit, that the elephant of our mind then will find it perhaps rampaging through everything that we do. And with this sitting practice, we can at least get a glimpse of it. And then another verse, verse 48. And this is one I need to listen to, well, two of them. When the urge arises in your mind to feelings of desire or angry hate, do not act. Be silent. Do not speak. And like a log of wood, be sure to stay. That one is difficult for me. As I mentioned, I tend to speak first and then become silent. So when the urge arises in your mind to feelings of desire or angry hate, do not act. Be silent. Do not speak. And like a log of wood, be sure to stay. My teacher Sokuzan at Sokokoji has a saying of his own that's similar to that. He says, don't do anything unless you have to, including speaking. And then another verse, 53, says, impatience, indolence, faint-heartedness, and likewise arrogance and careless speech, or attachment to your side. When these arise, it's then that like a log you should remain. That phrase, attachment to your side. I think correctly. My way is the correct way. I don't want to listen to somebody else. That's often how I feel. I want to attach, and yet the world is telling me differently if I observe what is going on in the world. And in our practice, I know sometimes here at the temple, you recite the 16 precepts, or the grave precepts. In our lineage, the Soto Zen lineage, we have a version of those 16 precepts. And particularly, there are the 3 refuge vows, which we recited, then the 3 pure precepts, which is basically to do good, not to do harm, and to be with all things. And that last one is the most difficult of all, to be with all things. But in the 10 prohibitory precepts, no killing life, no stealing, no attaching to fulfillment, and that has sometimes a no sexual misconduct, no illusory words, no lying, no selling the wine of delusion, no dwelling on past mistakes. Number 7, no praise or blame. Number 8, no hoarding materials or teachings. And number 9, which has become one of my favorites, no being angry. One of the 3 poisons, no being angry. And let me recite, there's a little lengthier description of it. No being angry. Beyond our limited conceptual realm. Now, as I think about these words, beyond our limited conceptual realm, when we receive thoughts, they're generally in the form of a concept. So we're asking in the 9th precept of no being angry, beyond our limited conceptual realm. And here's the description of that realm, the realm of how we think things and situations ought to be. So have you ever found yourself railing against your life because it's not what you want? Something's not going right. This isn't the way life should be. Why have I been given this? So this precept is encouraging us beyond our limited conceptual realm, the realm of how we think things and situations ought to be. The boundless Dharma world is endlessly extending. So if we can observe, wake up to the actual reality of this world It's boundless. Listen, it's boundless. There's no end to it. The boundless Dharma world is endlessly extending. The Dharma world of peace, love, joy, suffering, and pain. That boundless world is endlessly extending. It's reaching out. We are there to receive that world. The boundless Dharma world is endlessly extending. Here's the hard part: giving up our expectations. Giving up our expectations on each moment, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but on this very moment, giving up our expectations on each moment. And here's the really hard part: and bowing to the richness of how things really are, is no being angry. And so if we find ourselves railing against a particular time, experience that's going on in our lives or the world, I rail against the TV. I'm a news junkie and I can't help it. It's just, I got to know what's going on. And it's hard to know what to believe or what to know is true. And so I'm not saying that in the moment of bombs crashing on innocent people that's a good thing, but it is bowing to the richness. The richness here is the Buddha nature that we have all been born into. It is the basic goodness that we have covered up with our passion, our ignorance, and our anger, our aggression. And so again, no being angry beyond our limited conceptual realm. Beyond that, can we open up? Can we expand? Beyond our limited conceptual realm, the realm of how we think things and situations ought to be. The boundless Dharma world is endlessly extending. Giving up our expectations on each moment and bowing to the richness of how things really are is no being angry. A really tall order. But that's what we come to the cushion with. Tall orders. A life of suffering, it's everywhere. Anybody who is alive knows that. And I'd like to offer just another phrase that has been helpful to me. I was in a solitary retreat at a Shambhala center, Karma Choling in Vermont, a 10-day solitary retreat last September. And it's a practice where you go off and I was in a cabin by myself, didn't talk to anybody. The retreat master came to check up on me every few days. But other than that, it was my practice, my retreat. I spent 8 hours a day in meditation, 4 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and 2 hours in the evening. And then other study went on. And what I found myself practicing is the sadhana of Mahamudra. And this is a practice that was given to Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, a Tibetan Lama. And in 1968, he received this, what is called Dharma, or mind transmission. And at Sokokoji, we practice this every new moon and every full moon. And it's a practice that was received by my teacher, Sokuzan, from Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. And it takes about 45 minutes of this practice. But towards the end of it, there's a phrase or verses that I think ties in very, very well to passion, aggression, and ignorance. And the word sadhana simply means practice. We start with the seed syllable, hum. Whatever occurs in the realm of the mind, such as thoughts of the 5 poisons. So if you can imagine yourself again at the cushion, or even throughout the day, you might flash on one of these. Whatever occurs in the realm of the mind, such as thoughts of the 5 poisons: passion, aggression, ignorance, and, as I mentioned, pride and jealousy. One should neither lead nor follow. So I know for me, the tendency is to take off on one of those and then start justifying why it is the way I'm thinking is the correct way. But the sadhana says one should neither lead nor follow. So we're not going to use our aggression to go out towards, we're not going to bring it towards us, but just let it remain in its true state and reach the liberation of Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya is truth. So whatever occurs in the realm of the mind, such as thoughts of the 5 poisons, one should neither lead nor follow. Just let it remain in its true state. Have you noticed that when you have a difficult time, and for some of us it may go on, the suffering may continue due to health situations, mental situations, but even at the worst of time, it seems that there is some liberation from that, that there is an impermanent quality to it. And so if we consider just receiving that pain, that suffering, and then just receive it, just observe it, probably you'll find that it will begin to dissolve if we don't lead or follow. Very difficult thing to do, which is why we come to the cushion, why we train our minds. So whatever occurs in the realm of the mind, such as thoughts of the 5 poisons, one should neither lead nor follow. Just let it remain in its true state and reach the liberation of Dharmakaya. And so this is a do-it-yourself project. If we don't do anything with those thoughts that arise or those tendencies to want to take action right now, have our way, that if we just let it remain, it means feeling the pain rather than pushing it away or churning it up by adding to it. If we just let it remain in its true state, full of pain, and let it reach the liberation of the Dharmakaya, the dissolution, there isn't really anything that we need to do except receive. And one final thought, and I notice here on page 26 in your chant books, you have the Metta Sutta. And if you'd like to turn to page 26 with me, I'd like to have us finish up by reading. I'd like to jump down to the bottom of the page and read those last 3 verses together. Even as a parent protects with their life their child, their only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will. Whether standing, walking, seated, or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this resurrection. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Unyo. Again, I'd like to take a few moments just to sit. We'll start and end with 3 bells. Thank you. Thank you. Now I'd like to open up for joys and concerns. If we could have a microphone going around. Way ahead of me. Just raise your hand if you have anything that you would like to bring to the attention of the Sangha.
Hi everyone, Shanta Dirty Bava. I have a few joys. So my partner has been volunteering for about a year with Community Action House, and he's tried to get a job there a few times now, and he was just offered a job on Friday. So we're very excited. Um, I made my final car payment the other day, which is no small feat because we've been experiencing a lot of financial difficulties, which kind of brings me to my final joy. We met with kind of a financial helper through Community Action House where Jake is going to be working, and found out how much in debt I am every pay period, which I kind of already knew, but we have a plan to climb out of that, and it's going to take some time, but she's thinking by this summer we should hopefully be back on track. So I'm very grateful to have an advocate in our corner.
Good morning, everyone. Our son lives and works in Thailand. So it's been a kind of scary time for us, but we communicated with him almost immediately and knew he was safe. So we're very joyful about that, but certainly sending good thoughts to all the people. So many people affected by this earthquake.
Good morning, Sangha. My name is Shane, or Jueshin Su. I'm just so joyful today to see Nancy, who I haven't seen in a long time, and Jill, and just to be back and see Unyo giving a teaching. It's really great. And then I have been on sabbatical since September, and I'm hoping to come back in April. So things are looking good, and life is wonderful. Thank you.
I have a few. I have a couple at least. Well, the first one is one of my coworkers. Her name is Max, and he is having top surgery this week, and so it's a bit of a joy, but also a concern. Also, because we live in America in 2025, they are having to crowdsource the money just to kind of cover some bills and things, and so they have almost reached their goal, but they have just a little bit more to go. So hopefully by Wednesday they'll have that. And they're not affiliated with the temple in any way, but if you would like to donate or give, or just feel free to reach out to me and I can help connect you to them. I also have another joy. So after the service today, I will be meeting with a small group of people that I have been meeting with, part of the temple, to continue to work on my kesa for my Dharma transmission ordination that I hope to have here in May. When I sewed my black robes, it was a very solitary endeavor. And it's such a beautiful contrast to get the opportunity to create these robes with a group of people. And I hope that that is, I hope that that reflects on my role as a teacher moving forward, that it's not a solitary endeavor and that it can be a coming together of the Sangha. And so I am eternally grateful for everybody who has pricked a finger, helped me measure, helped me undo the wrong stitches as we move forward. And I also hope to see you all here in May when I take my vows. And so it's been just such an honor to teach and be a part of the Sangha here. So. Do we have any online?
Hello, Sangha. It's Nelson. We don't have any online, right? Okay. Oh, I have one. So starting off, it's both a concern and a joy. My grandfather died this past week, and I was never that close to him, but my mother was because it was her father. it was really hard for her to lose her mother a few years ago, but she had been on the decline for a while due to pneumonia, made worse by lifelong habit of smoking. So that was a very difficult moment for her to, even though she knew it was happening and it was getting worse, it finally happened. But she died when she was in her late 70s. My grandfather, her husband, who they had separated long before, was a pretty healthy guy, lived on his cocoa bean plantation in a mountain in Honduras, and was very fit, very smart his entire life. And he's died. He almost reached 100, not quite yet. But I mean, yeah, I saw a picture of him a few months back, and he looked totally fine. It just he decided to go, I suppose. So you know, she feels sad, but overall, I think this passing was much better for her than her mother. And now with both of her folks gone, she has to deal with that, and it makes me think about eventually my mother and father will pass. So yeah, just a lot going on in our family right now. Keep them in your hearts.
Good morning. My father recently finished chemotherapy, and so he is alive for now. And in my personal life, I have acquired a cast iron griddle, and I seasoned it and made it my own. It's been a very fruitful piece of equipment.
Well, if that's all, why don't we take a couple moments just to hold it all in together? Thank you. I do have some announcements. And some of these have happened already because it is towards the end of March. But I would like to have you all aware of the online meditation group that we have here on Wednesdays from 6 to 6:45 p.m. And you can join via Zoom. And you can contact Kunga if you need any information, as well as in the newsletter. And if you're not receiving our newsletter, you probably should be. We also have our Dharma discussion group that meets on Thursdays from 9:30 to 11 a.m. at the temple. And you can contact Reverend Jingsu, Ryan Dunfield, or see the newsletter for any more information on that. We also have our Buddhist-based recovery meetings. They meet on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Here at the temple. Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. at the Alano Club, and Fridays at 10:05 at the temple. I don't know why 10:05 always makes me laugh. Don't come at 10. And that's at the temple or via Zoom. Looking forward, also on April 20th. So we are having the first meeting for the Buddhist Mutual Aid Sangha. If you are looking for some ways to get more connected and be more active in the community and the Sangha, I would ask that you attend there. And I'm hoping that that will be a community ran organization. And also, I don't have the dates quite. We're still a little early. I do have the Sundays, but I don't have them top of my head. But as I mentioned before, I am receiving my Dharma transmission ordination from Suji in May. And we'll be doing that here across 2 Sundays. The last 2 Sundays in May, I believe those are here. And I'd love to have you here. Also, as part of that ceremony, there is a service that is colloquially known as the Zen Combat. I won't be punching anybody, and hopefully nobody will be punching me. But I will be working with a koan from the Blue Cliff Records, and I think I have one picked out, but I just haven't settled on it. just quite as yet. And once I have that, I will be presenting that to you all. And there'll be a chance for you to ask questions of me, as well as kind of working through that with me. And I want this to be a very, I don't want it to be a secret, magical, mystical secret ceremony. I want everybody to be there and to be involved because I want this to be a reflection of my service to everybody here. So I think those are the last 2 Sundays in May. So do we have any other announcements? Yes.
I signed up for the Dana announcement as it was open. So Dana is generosity. We have 3 Dana boxes actually. There's one here, one there, and there's a third one downstairs. They all have QR codes, so if you don't have cash or a check, you can scan it. Of course, monetary donations are always welcome, but we also can use toilet paper, paper towel, other soap, tea, anything that we need. You can get with Nikki on. And just so you know that nobody here gets paid, it's all voluntary based. So if we also could use people to help clean up at the end of service, clean up or set up before the service, and any other. Sometimes there's cleaning the first Tuesday of the month, which I might as well just say at the end of this service, we will be cleaning up all the cushions and putting them away so we can clean the floors on Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes. You can also check them out. I don't know if that was clear. Thank you so much, Shangosu. All right. Well, why don't we stand up to do our closing gathas? And that will be on page 6. Together. For all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to enter. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And we can turn to each other. Give one last bow. And if I can, any of you are all welcome to come downstairs for some tea, some questions, anything else. So see you there. Thank you.
Thank you.